Hi, I'm Erin Smith, and today I would like to present my qualitative research on Georgia College's culture. So first, I would just like to uh, shine light on the importance of this research. Um, Obviously, I would just like to shine light that Georgia College lacks racial diversity, which is very known and easily to be seen. And just acknowledge that, because I feel that acknowledgement is the first step to change. Acknowledge that there are forms of discrimination that goes unnoticed sometimes, and just acknowledge that everything is going on. And I'm not saying that the school already doesn't do that. I'm just saying, but actually acknowledge it and put forth change. There's one thing in just acknowledging, and there's another in actually putting forth the change and seeing what you're doing. And I hope that this research shines light after providing actual personal experiences of Black students on campus. I think that another importance of this research is false advertising, and how it's being shown that this school is more diverse than what it actually is because of a diversity picture that's taken at an event. There'll be just people of different racial standings, and they'll just be right by each other, but just because they're right beside each other in different races, they're pulled into a picture together, which will be posted on social media or the official Georgia College website, and it makes this school seem like it's way more diverse than it actually is, just based on that one photograph. So to talk about my site location, I chose Front Campus. I specifically sat to the right top corner of Front Campus by Bell Hall. That gave me a great eyesight and a range of view to just see a lot of Front Campus. There I observed the climate and the environment of Georgia College, which it was a nice day. The wind was blowing, stirring around the smell of popcorn and cotton candy and the sounds of pop music, because there was a student-led event going on to provide information of student media organizations on campus, which was very informing. And I actually stopped by because it was just so welcoming. It just caught my attention. The music caught my attention. Obviously, the smell of free popcorn caught my attention. And so it just, it was just really nice. From the time frame that I sat, which was between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m., I saw about 5 Black faces. Everybody was welcoming. There was music, there was popcorn. Everybody was smiling, enjoying the beautiful weather, but somehow I only saw 5 Black faces. 3 of which were older adults that didn't even look like students. So that was just very alarming to me. So I would like to move on to the demographics of my interviewees. I interviewed 2 people, to be exact, 1 female and 1 male. The female that I interviewed is an African American female. She is a senior and she's 22 years old. Her name is Victoria Massey. She is a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, which is a sorority of the National Panhellenic Council, also known as NPHC. She is a public health major with a global studies minor. I also interviewed DJ Morse. He is an African American male. He is a sophomore here at Georgia College and 19 years old. He is also a part of National Panhellenic Council, also known as NPHC. He is a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He is a management information systems major. So to talk about my codes, categories, and themes. So my overall theme is the pros and cons of the culture at a liberal arts, predominantly white institution. I had 2 categories: liberal arts advantages and liberal arts disadvantages. So talk about my first category being the liberal arts advantages. I would hear things like better opportunities, full of opportunities, better exposure, more exposure, and that just made me conclude to the code of opportunities. Next, I would hear talking to people, making connections, the culture center, Greek organizations, and this made me label it as safe spaces, because this is where these minority students felt safe on campus, just talking to people, making connections so they can walk in a room and know people rather than just being the Black face. So moving on to my next category of liberal arts disadvantages. I would hear things like discrimination based on the color of my skin, Trump and Make America Great Again signs allowed to be hung in windows, having people view your existence as less than theirs. My dreadlocks and skin makes me stand out. These all sound like forms of unnoticed discrimination. So guess what? That's what I named the code. Police brutality, social justice. No cure for racism. White people feel they can argue for or against the vitality of a person of color's life. That's uncomfortable topics. That's what I named that code, because these are topics that African American students are being forced to talk about, but it makes them feel very uncomfortable. My manifest coding would be: I see friendly faces, a beautiful welcoming campus, but I also see that it lacks racial diversity. However, my latent coding would be Black minority students undergoing discrimination. It's not really talked about or seen, but it does happen. NPHC organizations not being highlighted like IFC or Pan-Hellenic sorority. False advertising, the diversity picture that I was elaborating on earlier. These all make me conclude to the question: how can Georgia College fix these mixed feelings and make everyone, all students, no matter race or gender, feel welcomed, but not just looked like they're welcomed? So then this makes me talk about the larger societal issue of racism. Introducing predominantly white institutions to racial diversity is crucial to the evolving younger generation that will make up the future generation. That is us. Class of 2023, 2024, 2022, like all of us, we are about to be the teachers, the nurses, the leaders, the governors, the mayors, the lawyers. We are about to be these leaders in society, and we're going to a predominantly white institution that lacks cultural competence. We're here, and we're not exposing ourselves to open-mindedness of being around somebody that thinks different than myself, or being around someone that comes from different walks of life that can provide me with different personal experiences to help guide me in life. This school lacks that. Even the classes that are being taught here, like African studies or Black studies, they're being taught by white professors that aren't even a part of this ethnic background that they're talking about. And so it's starting the chain of color blindness. Or you think just because, oh, I don't see the color of your skin, I'm colorblind, I just go through life. No, everybody's the same. But no, if you see the color of my skin, you're able to see the problems that come along with it. So I think it is very, very important to see color. But not being culturally competent and being colorblind leads to microaggression, which is defined as a statement or action, incident regarding indirect discrimination or subtle discrimination against minority groups of racial and ethnic minorities, which that leads to the bigger societal issue of racism. And so it's just very important to just elaborate on these things and acknowledge these things so that things can change as we go through society and go through generations, so that things can change and predominantly white institutions can be introduced to this culture, so that our leaders, our growing up leaders, can be culturally inclined. And so this is my qualitative research on Georgia College's culture.